Hello, my loves and lovers. Welcome to our beautiful Law of Attraction, becoming a magnet to healthy romantic relationships. I am so excited to see all of you here. Say hello. I can see 19 of you right now joining in. Please introduce yourselves. Where are you from? Whilst people are joining, I want to know who I'm speaking to today. I want to know where you're coming from. I want to know where exactly you are in the world right now. So say yes, I'm here. Right now, I am in London. And what am I hearing? What am I hearing? Where are you guys from? Say hello. Say how you're feeling today. What are you looking to get from this? What are your intentions? Whilst everyone is flowing in and trickling in. Okay. This is going to be an active experience, my loves. This means that you will need to get involved today. So if I ask you a question, I expect you to answer it. Why? Because we don't learn passively, we learn actively. So if you haven't yet, my loves, I want you to grab your pen, get your cup of tea, get your vitamin D, turn your phone off on flight mode, and arrive into this space. Okay, and to help you arrive into this space, we're going to do a little centering exercise. So all I want you to do is place one palm on your chest, place one palm on your belly. I want you to close your eyes down. You are here, you are with me, you are with us. We are together. We're saying yes to the possibility of healthy relationships. We are saying yes to the possibility of stepping into more deep intimacy, deep love, connection. Okay? So, as we take a deep, delicious breath in, all the way deep down into our throat to begin with, let's feel our throats a little bit. So, and as you begin to fill your throat with air, allow yourself to simply make a sigh or a noise, whatever feels right for you right now. And again, take a deep breath in. This time, I'm going to take a deep breath into our heart space. We're just going to observe how that feels. So take a deep breath in with me now. And as you hold that breath, just allow it to fill each and every crevice of your chest right now and feel what that feels like, and give yourself permission for it to be okay, for it not to be okay, whatever that is. And when you're ready, we're going to sigh it out with a delicious yes. Coming back into our nervous system, coming back into our bodies. And again, we're taking a deep breath in, this time into our belly. And as we hold that breath again, filling the crevices of our belly, saying yes to the possibility of opening up to more, of expanding into more love, more intimacy, expanding into ourselves. And as we release, I want you to go, rah. Nice. Activating our bodies together. Beautiful. Keep your eyes closed, my loves. Okay, so coming back to your normal breathing, keeping your eyes closed, keeping your palm on your chest and palm on your belly, I want you to begin to think of what it would be like if there was nothing holding you back right now. What if nothing was holding you back, okay? I want you to just to visualize and envision that. What does that feel like? What does that look like? What does that sound like? What do you see? What are you seeing right now? If nothing was holding you back right now in your relationship, what would that look like for you? And I want you to just breathe. And whatever you feel, whatever you see, whatever it is, it's totally, perfectly fine right now. Allow yourself to see this vision. And then the next moments, I just want you to begin to observe, where is this vision? I want you to kind of like quantify and identify and locate this vision inside or outside of your body. Where is this vision? Where is this Where is it? If nothing was in your way, if nothing was holding you back, where would that be? Is it like 50 miles away from you? Is it right inside of your heart space? Is it in your legs? Is it in your belly? What are you feeling? Where is it? Locate it. Remember it. Locate it. It's fine. Wherever it is totally fine. And as you've located it, I want you to begin to see if you can bring it closer into your heart space right now. And if it's already into your heart space, I want you to expand that vision into your heart space, my loves. And as you expand into that vision, and as you begin to feel, as you're bringing this vision into your heart space, like what do you feel? What does that feel like for you right now? Is there resistance? Is there joy? Is there love? Is there happiness? Is there expansion? I want you to just take notes, a non-judgmental, a compassionate inquiry. And as you do, I want you to set an intention that this vision stays in your heart right now. It's not going anywhere, my loves. It's not going anywhere. And I want you to just play this vision out as close as it is to your heart space. If it's in your heart space, perfect. I want you to now turn up the volume of this vision of what it feels like if was nothing holding you back in your relationship. What would that look like? I want you to turn up the volume now, and I want you to hear exactly perfectly right now in this moment in time. What are you hearing? And again, I want you to turn up the vividness of this vision now. We're going bright colors, vividness, the most vivid vision you've ever seen. And whatever it is perfectly fine, my loves. Even if it's a tad difference, change that vision and keep it in your heart space. And now I want you to turn down the volume and turn down the vividness back to its natural, normal state as you began with that vision. And I just want you to set an intention for today with this vision right now in your heart space. What is it that you deeply want? What is it that you're ready to say yes to unapologetically? And when you're ready, open your eyes and come back into the space. Welcome, my loves. How are we feeling? I want to hear from you. Where was your vision right now? Where did you locate it? Where did you find it? I want you to respond to me. I want you to chat to me. Let's go. The more you communicate, the more you're going to get out of this. So I'm seeing lots of you from London. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Watford, beautiful. Amazing. So I want to hear, what was it for you? And this is really where we're beginning already. We're beginning this by actually seeing how much this vision is aligning with us right now. How much is this vision? Are we allowing it into our heart space? Yes, yes. So if you said yes today, if you said yes to this workshop, I want to congratulate you because you've already done 99% of the work, right? You've done most of the work. You've already said yes, and it is happening. But you have to believe that it's happening, that you're opening up and that you're healing yourself. And so if you're here, you clearly are seeking for deeper intimacy. You're seeking for real communication. You're seeking for expansive sex. You're seeking for something that will accelerate you and your partner into a new timeline, into a new dimension, into a new space where you are both thriving as two individual beings, right? And wherever you are, if you have a partner, you don't have a partner, this is for you, my loves, because we're going to go deep and we're going to go into the fundamentals of how we're attracting people into our lives today. And so to begin with, let me just set this like that so you can see better. Beautiful. Let me introduce myself. You're probably wondering, who am I and why am I qualified to guide you through this? My name is Gabi Atribite, but many know me as Golden Gabi, and I specialize in emotional and trauma healing and mind reprogramming, which allows my clients to really stop repeating sabotaging patterns in their life, such as unfulfilling relationships, things like addictive and toxic habits that usually create a block that hold them back from leading a healthy life using my multi-modality approach to healing. I am trained in mind-body therapies, neurolinguistic programming, psychic development, integrative nutrition. And what I like to do is I love to take a holistic scope of you and really open up the healing space where you can truly open to your potential, open up to your gifts that you haven't been able to access previously. I also hold my academics are in neuroscience and psychology with awards as well. So everything is around mind, everything's about emotional healing. And so I am also the founder of the Reclamation School, and it is a platform for integrative healing that bridges mind, body, and spirit so people can break free from mental, physical, and emotional barriers to become the visionaries of their own lives. I am a course creator. I run circles, ceremonies, retreats. I do one-to-one coaching, group coaching, mentorships, healing. And I absolutely love relationships. And you know why? Because the quality of all of our relationships really determines the quality of our lives. And it's not even about romantic relationships. The foundations is creating a relationship with yourself, a relationship so strong that you know who you are. You understand what triggers you. You understand what your needs are. You understand what your values are. You can go out there in the world and you can show up fully and unapologetically, and that's the person that you attract. And this is what we're seeking for today. And so I want to know who you are. Where are you? Why are you here today? I've just told you why am I here today. So I want to know, why are you here today? So first of all, if you have been unable to attract a compatible partner, please put A. If you have been stuck in a hamster wheel of dating, disappointing relationships that are currently creating a toxic environment, then put B. If you feel unfulfilled and unexcited in your relationships right now, you're not being listened to, you're not being heard, you're not being respected in your current relationship, I want you to put C. And finally, if you struggle to push past that kind of superficial layer of dating and communicating, and you just feel quite shallow, you feel like everything's a little bit superficial, then I want you to put D. And please, my loves, if you've missed something and there is another reason why you're here today, I want to know. So please let me know. And I'm already seeing some of you putting down the answers. Beautiful. I want to know. And so whilst you are thinking about putting what is my life like right now? Why am I actually here today? What's the intention that I'm setting? I really would like to share with you my story, because I think that the more vulnerable I can get with you, the more vulnerable you'll get with me. And I know this because I've been coaching people for many, many, many years. And, I'm trained in psychology. I understand the neuroscience of your brain, but you know what? There are things where we just have to be human. And we have to, in order to hold a safe space for somebody to heal, we have to be transparent to begin with so people can trust us. And so all of my life, I have been in toxic relationships in some form or another. And I remember there was a time when I was walking down the streets and I was carrying very heavy grocery bags. And it was my ex-partner at the time next to me. He was walking and he wasn't carrying any bags because he was narcissistic and he was quite awful and he was making me do all the work. And so I remember an argument escalated and we stopped. We stopped for a moment, and the next moment, all I can see is him swinging his hand, his arm like this at me, and I'm quite short, so he was swinging it over, and he just hit me over the face. And I remember with that hit, it's like I jumped out of my own body, and I was looking over this whole situation. And I remember watching myself and just thinking to myself, why do I deserve this? Why do I deserve this? It was not. I wasn't saying, I don't deserve this. No, I was saying, why do I deserve this? And do you know what I did? I walked on. I walked home with this person and I carried on. And in that moment in time, I didn't understand that I was dating this man not from a place of my worth. I was dating this man from a place of my wound. And I wanted him. I was attracted to him. It was like this energetic pull towards this abusive man. And I just couldn't understand. And all of the signals that my body was giving was saying, stop, get away, run away, get out of the situation. And this kept happening to me over and over and over again with narcissistic, indecisive, and insecure partners. And I was so obsessed with getting them to love me. And all I could feel was rejection and distance. Has anybody been in that situation? If you have, I want you to put hashtag BTB, been there before, hashtag BTB, been there before, because so many of us have been in that situation one time in our life. And it could be a woman has been abusive to us in our relationship dynamic, or a man could have been abusive to us in our relationship dynamic. It doesn't matter. Abuse can stem from both ways. And I know that both males and females have been in this situation, my loves. And so when I say I know where you've been, because I know where you've been. And so I was getting so obsessed with just anybody please just love me. Anyone love me, please. I was a good person, right? Why am I not receiving anything back from these people? I'm just giving and giving and giving. And why am I creating such a toxic environment for myself? And so, I realized that relationship was really stemming from a place inside me. I realized that it was stemming from something deeper within me. Something was creating these scenarios and patterns over and over and over again. And so what most relationship programs, what these gurus and coaches out there don't teach, or what they teach you backwards, is they teach you that you need to become someone you are not to attract the person into your life, right? Is that right? Been there before. Yes, been there before. Yeah, I know. And so I want to explain to you, first of all, why is this happening? And I want to show you that you can have it all. You can have a gorgeous, beautiful relationship that is expansive. Because there is no script that can fake your frequency, right? There is no script that can fake your energy, what you feel on the inside of yourself. There is no script that you can learn and you can recite to the woman that you love or to the man that you love. It's much more deeper than this. And we're going to go straight into it. So, first of all, I just want to ask you, how much is a meaningful relationship worth to you? Is it worth £10,000 or euros or dollars? Is it worth $20,000? Is it worth $50,000? Like, how much is it worth to you? Just have a little think, like, how much is creating a deep, meaningful union with another person is worth? Some people say that it's priceless. And I'm asking you this because the past 5 years, I would have paid thousands to be where I'm at today, in a relationship where I'm being supported, where I'm being respected, where I'm being heard, listened to, but most importantly, where I can feel that I'm receiving love, right? Um, so the best part of this whole training is that you do not need to be on 10 different dating apps to find a partner. Okay. You do not need to learn scripts and courtship rituals to attract a loving partner. You don't need to go on blind dates or lower your standards for people that are not compatible to you. Can I have a yes, yes, no more of that shit, please? You don't need to spend years appealing yourself until you are ready for the one. My loves, the one does not exist. The one does not exist, and you will learn exactly why. And so, the most important sort of thing that I want to cover with you, and the most popular questions that I get asked is, why am I unable to attract a partner, or why am I attracting the wrong partners into my life? And so, what people are not recognizing is that we have to become aware of the mental and emotional mechanisms that are currently defining our affinity to the next person that we date. And this is what we are going to discuss today. So, on the agenda, we have, why is our relationship not working right now? How we navigate relationships to begin with. We're going to look into your energetics of relationships. We're going to look at emotional wounds in relationships and how they affect them. We're going to look at your relationship signatures. We're going to do a few juicy exercises that I have prepared for you. And we're going to look at the solutions and into conscious relationships as well. So, dating apps. Yes, I hate dating apps. Yes. Yes, yes. You don't need that, my love. You do not need any of that to attract a successful partnership. Okay. So, first of all, let's go deep into the model of relationships that you've been taught by the society. There is the battery model, which is basically, I have a garden, you have a garden, and I have a garden, right? Or your partner has a garden, right? So, and you both feed off each other. So you're nurturing their garden, they're nurturing your garden, but no, you're not nurturing each other's gardens, and you're just feeding off each other. So what do I mean by this? This person is my whole world. This person is my happiness. I cannot live without this person. I must rely on this person emotionally, mentally, financially, physically. We're having the same interests. We have to do the same things. There's these expectations that have been ingrained into us from societal paradigms, from societal conditioning. My loves, these are not yours. And so the mutual relationship model is a little bit different, because all of a sudden we have a mutual garden. We have a mutual fund that we're putting all of our love and energy and care. And we're putting the soil and the sunlight and the water and everything like this. And we are also, what we're doing is we're nourishing our own gardens, because you cannot give from a place of lack. You must first create abundance within yourself, and then you can give back, right? So we are creating a nurturing environment inside yourself and setting our own values, our own boundaries, knowing our own worth, needs, abilities, likes, dislikes. We're tending to these gardens constantly. And so this takes off the pressure of you are my happiness, and it puts more emphasis on, this is an extension of my happiness. My relationship is an extension of my happiness. My partner is supporting me. We are on a vision together. Do you see how both these arrows are going straight into the same direction? They're going straight into a mutual garden. In battery, this doesn't happen. We're kind of moving like this. We're moving like this, okay? And so how do we then, like create this mutual garden, and it's like this gorgeous place, this nourishing space for us to live in, right? We first of all have to, whoops, let me go here. We first of all have to concentrate on your garden to begin with, okay? You are the most important thing in the world. And this is really what a conscious relationship is. A conscious relationship is really about concentrating on the well-being of ourselves in order to be of higher service to the other in our union that we are creating. This is shifting from the battery mode to the neutral mode, from the taking to the giving ourselves and giving the other. And it's really, practice self-conscious relationships means that we're moving away from societal unconscious programs, and we're really like creating our own love. We are beginning to step out of the space that is familiar and actually saying like, hey, who am I and who are you? And we are really stepping away from the paradigms that are driving our insecurities, our jealousy, and creating even more emotional distance to begin with. Because it is really time for us to take ownership, to take sovereignty and autonomy of who we are as human beings first. Because the more we nurture and nourish our garden, the more we can attract the person that is the same, okay? And so there are 4 pillars of conscious relationships. And today we're going to dive into relationship with the self. The relationship with the self is creating an understanding, a conscious understanding of who we are, what are our triggers, what our parts of our past and our traumas, and what is it that we don't want to bring into relationship, and what is it that we want to expand so it flourishes. And so there's deep self-work, which allows us to then step onto the next pillar, which is conscious coupling and uncoupling. It's when we already have the self-awareness of ourselves, so we can then begin to move through our past relationships and experiences, and this includes romantic and unromantic, and begin to cut the energetic cords, begin to cut and clear and resolve our past romantic traumas, which we not necessarily even understood that were traumas to begin with, which allows us to then step onto pillar number 3, which is creating conscious connections. And conscious connection is all about communicating. It's all good to communicate with your in your relationship with yourself, but you have to learn the language of your lover. And so that is the difference between basically bashing your heads against each other and working together to make sure your mutual garden is nourishing. And finally is expansive intimacy. Like, how can you use intimacy as a tool to create wealth, to create even more happiness? How do you expand? How can you create a vision together? And how do you move towards that vision together? And so it's all about cracking you open. Who are you? Who are you? You are 95% subconscious mind and only 5% conscious mind. And what that means is that everything, your beliefs, values, habits, your reactions, and your emotions are all based on your subconscious patterns that you've created between the critical years of 0 to 7. So you've established a foundation. And so your body is like the mechanism to acting it all out. And your subconscious mind lives in the body. So it's all of the habitual processes. Your conscious mind is only like right now, what I'm doing right now. I am speaking to you. I am remembering short-term things. I am thinking, right, what's going to be the next slide? What's going to be the next thing? That's your conscious mind. Your subconscious mind, on the other hand, is all of my hand gestures, is all of my movements, is all of my speaking, is everything that is already, all of the information, all of the memory, all of my past experiences. That's my subconscious mind. And this is really what is working on your nervous system. This is what is determining how your nervous system responds to the environment around you, which is basically what is manifesting your reality, which is your relationships, your health, your wealth, and everything around you. Your subconscious mind is made up of these stories. I like to call them simply stories. They can be called beliefs, they can be called memories, unresolved trauma, they can be called limiting beliefs, associations in childhood, when we create associations between one thing and another, which is incredibly important in psychology. But really, it is these parts of us, and what we're going to be looking at is we're going to be looking at these stories that are actually sabotaging our relationships right now. And so the ego is there to protect you. We all develop our ego after the ages of 7. How interesting, isn't it? So between the ages 0 to 7, we are totally in our subconscious mind. And this is why I've said it creates a foundation for your relationships. It is literally, this is how we create associations. So whatever your caregivers, whatever your parents, your family members, the bullies at school, the environment, the grandparents and the grandmothers and the grandparents, everything is their foundation to what your mind expects your reality to be in the later years of your adulthood, if we don't do anything about it. And that's why it's so important. So your ego is a protection mechanism. That's all it is. And ego bases this protection mechanism on your subconscious stories. So whatever story that you've learned, if you've learned at some point in your life where your mother betrayed you, your mother said something really nasty and mean to you, then the chances are your ego will protect you in some way and will hold you back from pursuing something that is in some way related to that incident. This is how strong your subconscious mind is. It creates your reality around you. And you have to understand this in order to move forwards in your relationships. So this is the mirror phenomenon. It's very simple. Everything in your life is a mirror to your subconscious mind. Life is not happening at you. It is happening inside you. Reality is happening inside you. So whatever your beliefs, thoughts, actions, fears, insecurities are, this is what the universe is manifesting for you. You're not manifesting your desires. You are manifesting your subconscious patterns in your life. I want you to say yes, yes, if you're with me, if you understand this, and we carry on. So your relationships are a mirror to your subconscious stories. And so I want you to now have a think, what are some of your stories you are currently carrying with you right now? And I've just written a few that are the most people know, the most people that people relate to most is I will get hurt. Can I have a yes, yes? Can I have a BCB? BCB for me, I will get hurt. I'm not good enough. I'm unlovable. It is safer to stay here. Have you ever had that? So where you're in a relationship and you know it's time to call quits, and there is this thing, and you're like, oh, I can't do this. And so you go on for like another year and maybe another year, maybe 3 more years. And so you go into your marriage. I've been with so many clients where they've gone into marriages 10 years way over, and they just simply had an actual internal mechanism that was holding them back. There is no one out there for me. How many of us? I've had so many clients say, do you know what? There just isn't someone for me. That's it. I'm giving up. Why? It's because you keep saying to your mind, there's nobody for me. There's nobody out there for me. There's nobody out there for me. That thought becomes a conviction inside of you. What is a conviction? It's a subconscious pattern. And a subconscious pattern only creates more of that reality for you. And so what do we receive on the other side of the mirror? Unavailable partners, abusive partners, dismissive partners, situationships, like not even being able to speak up for what you want. Ending up in a polyamorous relationship where actually you never wanted that in the first place. Not speaking up your truth because you just haven't been equipped to how, because your mind only knows what's familiar. Doing something you deep down don't want to be doing. How many of us been there before? I've been there before, doing things that I just don't want to do. And I look back and think, wow, how much resilience this woman had, huh? So fear, I want to discuss fear because fear is at the core of all of these narratives and stories that we have. And so fear is really, I want to teach you about emotions a little bit very quickly. Emotions are all necessary, my loves. Fear, anger, shame, pain. I love emotions. Emotions are necessary. They are giving you information to how you deep down feel about something. It is needed to express all. And so we don't because the society has taught us that we don't need to. You know how we say to children, shut up, don't cry when they're on a tube or on a street and they have a tantrum. Children should be having tantrums. Children are having tantrums. The only reason why they're having tantrums is because they're trying to tell you something's off with you, with your energy. That's how children navigate the world. And so fear is a huge, juicy piece of information for you. That's all it is. And so I always say to my clients, and it's a really harsh thing to say, but you will not die if you feel this emotion. That is the thing that our mind, the ego loves to create a nightmare around an experience that's been negative or traumatic in some way. And it creates a nightmare, and then we kind of like close it, shut it, we put it away, we never want to see it again, we compartmentalize it, and we just shut it down. And we think that we don't have anything. I've worked with clients that for 50 years, they've shut down the most deepest, painful things in their lives, only to find out what is underneath them. Only when they've been receiving a safe space to do so, and they never die. I promise you, you will not die. None of my clients have ever died. I've not died, and I've gone through so much in my life. Emotions are necessary. They are healthy for us. And so I want you to be honest with yourself right now. I'm going to do a little quick exercise. So I need to get your notepads ready. I've got mine, and I want you to write down, what have you missed out on letting fear take control in your relationship? So you've given fear the steering wheel. You've given fear the access. You've said it right. And so what are these narratives that you're having right now? What have you missed out on? I want you to write them down right now. Leah Bessie says, BTB, BTB, BTB. Yes, 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 yes. I completely agree. Good vibes. Beautiful. No, I don't believe this. There is someone perfect for me. Yes, yes, Farouk. Yes, 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 yes. Moving towards our beautiful relationships. Jose, welcome. Yes, 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 yes. Please keep the comments coming. The only way I can get info from you guys is if you speak to me and we get some juicy information. If there's something you want to share, please share this, because this is a safe space for us all to grow. I grow when you grow. One of the reasons people don't recognize, but coaches and healers and therapists, they all have a path of actually healing themselves more as they help others. Is the path that we've chosen. Fear keeps you stationary. Yes, yes. So I want to hear, what have you missed out on letting fear take control in your relationships? And if you don't want to share it, perfectly fine. Make sure you write this down. Again, next question I want you to note in your diary, and you can answer it later or right now. just jot it down quickly, whatever comes through you, is what is the worst thing that will happen if I don't change? What is the worst thing that will happen to you if you don't actually change these patterns in your life? That's a huge one. And I think a lot of the times we avoid it and we dodge it and we go around that question and we're back to square one. I don't want you to back to square one. I don't want you to be in square one. I want you to take this. And these are the questions that are life-changing. These are the simple questions that are life-changing. Finally, I want you to write down, what's the worst thing that will happen if I change? Wow, okay, juicy. What is the worst thing that will happen if I change? Yeah, so that is juicy because that will bring up your response of your subconscious responses of like, oh, like, I'm not good enough, right? So we want this. We want all of this juicy information. I'll keep getting hurt, Joel. Yes, I hear you, my love. Can't know what you missed out on. Yes, yes. Okay. So, my loves, I want you to drill this in your heads. If you understand this concept, these basic laws of the mind, you're already 100 steps ahead of 95% of the population. Number one, half of what you learn in your life happens before the age of 7, which is now you know why. Number two, the mind only seeks for what is familiar and rejects for what is unfamiliar. So your subconscious mind is unable to do otherwise, simply because you have a protection mechanism that we call the ego. It is there for your survival purposes. It's totally needed. It is totally protective. It is what allows you to navigate on a daily basis. But also we have to push through these boundaries. We have to push through the initial unfamiliarity of things and keep telling our mind and keep working with the nervous system that it is safe, that it is safe, that it is safe to change, that it is safe to step into the unfamiliar. And so what tends to happen a lot of the times, one of the biggest thing I find with clients is that they will go into a relationship that is actually finally safe. And they'll say to me, I'm not feeling it. And when we go deeper into this, we realize that actually the person has had so much drama in their childhood and in their relationships that finally, when they've come across somebody who is safe and unfamiliar to their mind, they begin to freak out because they don't feel that sense of intensity, or that sense of, even there may not even be a huge sexual kind of sparks in the first kind of stages of the relationship, because that is normal. This is how wounded the ego has gotten, and this is how much dramatic experience the person has experienced, that at the end, what tends to happen, we begin to find safe relationships unfamiliar. So we keep saying, I really want somebody who will just love me and be there for me and create safety and hold space for me and do all these things. But when we come across that person, we simply deflect them. Okay, there's not attraction. We are deflecting them like, bye-bye, this is not happening. And so what we need to do is we need to realize that the reality lives inside of our minds, meaning that everything is around us is a pure reflection of the stories that we tell ourselves. And this is how we can begin to move through. We have to begin to work with the subconscious mind. And so we are the sum total of all of our thoughts. And so these questions that I've just given you will begin to give you insight into your daily narratives that are your stories, that are your subconscious stories. And so a lot of the time they're quiet. I'm not good enough. I'm unlovable. They're quiet. They're totally quiet. They're so silent. We don't even notice them. We navigate them. We're already one step ahead. We're not thinking them. We're already acting them out and behaving that way. And so this kind of seeps into your energetics. And how does it seep into your energetics? The moment that your story becomes a conviction, It's now part of your energetic field. So this story that we learned when we were a child, when our mother wasn't able to tend to us when we were a baby because maybe she was going through postnatal depression, maybe she was going through a passing away of somebody very close to her, and she physically and emotionally couldn't have been there for us, we automatically will create a wound because a baby requires emotional presence. People believe that you need to be physically present. No, it is the emotional presence and the attention. And this is what happens in the real world. So when we grow up, we seek for partners that aren't present with us. They're always dissociated, like the glass eyes, isn't it? It's like, are you with me? Are you not with me? I need you. I want you. And we're going to go into some juicy things why just in a moment. And so I just want to show you that how we are, our field is always attracting things. Our consciousness is ever expanding, but actually what it's doing is always compressing into the physical reality, always. And so whatever your consciousness, whatever your conscious thoughts are, whatever you're creating on the inside is compressing and creating the physical reality around you. That's what physics is. That's what quantum physics is. So you can only attract the energetic match to your subconscious thoughts, not your desires, honeys. So I want you to understand the 3 universal laws of the universe, because this is how deep we're going, right? You are here, you're in it, you're ready. So let's do this. I want you to write this down on your notebook. Desired future equals aligned thoughts, feelings, and actions. Again, desired future equals aligned thoughts, feelings, and actions. So how do we align those thoughts? How do we change the subconscious patterns? This is what we're going to go into next. Secondly, if you can create it in your mind, it already exists as a possible timeline. What do we mean by timeline? You have a infinite number of timelines that you can potentially choose in your life, or paths. Okay, you can take any path in the world, but you don't. You keep going the same way and nothing changes, correct? So the same patterns keep repeating. And so the moment you begin to visualize, think, feel, and act, that is when you're beginning to move towards your desired path. Finally, number 3, you have to make a decision. I think that's what I was going for there. I think I've missed something there. But anyway, this calls me for saying, make a decision. Make a decision today. What is your decision today? I want to hear all of your decisions. I'm already reading some of your beautiful comments. I'm fucking loving it. What is your decision? What are you decided? You need to be decided, because the moment you are deciding, you're putting out the thought there. Straight away, your thought is beginning to align to that path, to that timeline. But you have to make a decision. What is it that you're no longer taking with you in your backpack of emotional burden? And what is it that you are receiving? What is it that you're becoming open to receive? You want to let go. And when you let something go, you got to bring something back in. What is it going to be? And so the generational model is kind of like the overview of how we become wounded. Everything happens with the inner child. We all start with an inner child. Each one of us has an inner child. An inner child is pure bliss, pure love, is pure divine spirit, universal intelligence, whatever you want to call it, God, whatever you want to call it. It is, we are pure because we are in touch from the society. We are in touch from this wounding. And so we don't carry these egoic, wounded ego with us. We are simply pure as we are. And this is really inside of us. Each and every one of us carries an inner child inside of us. And so usually we will have a mother and a father come together, and they will carry some sort of a wounding. And that wounding will get passed on to the next generation. And we're going to begin to create a wound around the mother and the father's wound itself. And so it's not necessarily that we're passing on it gets passed on in the DNA, but it's really us responding to our mother's wound or our father's wound, let's say. So if our mother was emotionally neglected, then she will act in the same way in some way or another that will cause emotional neglect, and it will be our form of emotional neglect. So that's why you see we are so different with our siblings, because siblings don't necessarily develop the same wounding. They don't develop the same trauma, as you want to call it. And that's all trauma is. A trauma is something that happens within us that creates a response in our body that causes a negative association to us, that is causing a negative feeling inside of us. That is all trauma is, and it comes in a spectrum, and it can be any kind of trauma. It can be any kind of wound that we receive. It can be as simple as your mother leaving you for 2 minutes to go to the bathroom whilst you're a baby and you're left unattended for that moment when you needed her the most. And so it all depends on your own specific situation of what has happened to you from the moment that you were conceived all up until now. Yes, I did say it's like a critical ages between 0 to 7, but you're always creating associations. Always. So we have to begin to break this chain. And the moment you begin to break this chain, you begin to realize, you begin to step out of the victim mentality that you're a victim, everything around you is falling apart, you're not attracting the correct partner, and actually you go into like a little bit of transparency, or you're stepping into a stage of becoming transparent of what is going on inside you and accepting that and taking responsibility for it. And so there are really 3 core wounds of abandonment, rejection, and betrayal. And so obviously in abandonment, we had to have had some sort of a dismissal when we were a child. We were in some way devalued. We were not acknowledged. We were not seen. We were not heard. And I'll share with you my own story that I learned about my own wounding of abandonment as I was growing up. My father's brother died when I was only an infant. And so my father wasn't able in any way, shape, or form be emotionally there for me. And it created such a deep wound inside of me that I acted out of that wound, and I was attracting relationships that weren't available to me. And so I want you to take this and read this on for yourself, but I want you to begin to understand which one of the core wounds are you carrying right now? How are you acting towards these wounds? And so I want to share with you 4 case studies very quickly. So first of all, Larissa is a beautiful woman, and she kept dating people who were not respecting her. And she would always get into a situation where she was mistreated, and she wasn't fully safe in those situations. And then we've got Ashley, and Ashley carried fear of judgment all of her life, which led her into a very shallow, very insecure relationship. She couldn't feel like she could even show herself. Rory was the same. He felt like he couldn't show up and stand in his full power. And he was, and so that created a symptom of people pleasing around him. And finally, Shakira. Shakira is an incredibly beautiful woman who had to escape an abusive relationship, and that stripped her from her sense of self. And so what do all of these people have in common? What do all of my clients have in common? They all carry a trauma wound in some shape, form, of another that is causing them to attract partners that don't necessarily hold a space for them. So then they act out their wound in a form of people pleasing, in a form of feeling insecure, feeling rejected all the time, having anxiety, feeling depressed, feeling unloved. And so it's really this sabotage that we feel, and it can manifest in many different ways. But what I really want you to now have a look at is your relationship signature. I want you to make a note of, who are you in your own relationships right now? Are you secure? So are you currently feeling comfortable expressing your needs? Do you feel comfortable and non-jealous and non-anxious and trusting towards your partners? Or are you on the avoider side, which means that you are avoiding emotional connection, which means that you are distracting yourself from emotional intimacy? And most of the time, these people will tend to not get into relationships, and they will keep saying, I can't attract a partner. I there's nobody. And even if I go on a date, there's no chemistry, there's no nothing, there's just nothing. There's no second date. Finally, the worrier, which is like the opposite side, which is the worrier usually tends to crave for emotional connection, and they lack self-esteem, and they lack that safety inside of themselves. So they always need to be reminded that they're loved, and they need affection on some form or shape, a proof that they're being loved. And so finally, the fearful avoider is the one that is kind of the avoider and worrier fused into two. And so this is the most disorganized signature, which is usually caused by severe traumatic experiences in childhood that kind of lead us to either addictive behaviors, promiscuous, complex trauma bond relationships. And because fearful avoider will not even feel worthy of love because of everything that they've experienced, they won't even try and go for a relationship. They'll try to dodge it. So I want you to look at the past 3 relationships you've had, and I want you to write down their core patterns and qualities that you remember that made you upset or triggered you in those relationships. And I want you to write the first thing that comes to your head, okay? So there is no wrong answer, and I want you to do it right now. And as you do, I'm going to read through your comments. So I want you to look at all of your relationships, and these relationships don't necessarily have to be romantic. They can be with your siblings and friends, or it can be with people that you had some sort of a romantic connection. Whatever that is, I want you to look at the past 3 relationships that you've had and write them all down. Beautiful, Dipti. I want to attract my life partner naturally and effortlessly. Yes, yes. I want someone in masculine energy. Yes, yes. Yes. Okay, really fast. We're moving forwards. And so you'll get to see what it at the end looks like. So now I want you to get onto the next page and put down your caregivers' names, put a line through them. And I want you to write down exactly the same, the core qualities and patterns that you remember that made you upset or triggered you in those dynamics with your caregivers. And again, I want you to be simply, okay, that's my mom did this and I didn't feel like this. I want you to be open and honest. I want you to go for it. And if you're writing them in comments, then that is also really beautiful. Just make sure you have it in your journal, and you can finish off this exercise after the live, because we're going we're going out over time now. But I want you to take this, and I want you to get this. So this is what you get at the end, is you have your 3 relationships that you've looked at. You've got your mother and dad and father. And so what you want to do is you want to grab your highlighter, and you want to simply highlight if you're seeing any patterns, if you're seeing the same thing across different people. And when I say the same thing, I mean include your mother and your father as well. Include your past partners, okay? And so when you do this, you will see that there is a pattern. So here you can see that there's inconsistent, unavailable. It doesn't even matter if some of these don't necessarily make sense. They make sense to you, and that's the most important thing. You're watching these patterns play out in your life. And so now we can see, for example, here, mom was judgmental, controlling, often not present, would threaten to beat me. So that will probably be all in itself a different wound to begin with, and it may not be necessarily like directly affecting these relationships. But when you read father, didn't spend much time with me, I didn't feel seen, loved, was never there during most important events of my life, I can see that this person is a female, and that their father never created a relationship with them for whatever reason, which then led them to having partners that were unavailable emotionally. And this was created in situations that kept her rejected and abandoned. And so you can learn, you see, are you seeing this? DJ Vector, welcome to the party, welcome. So are you seeing any patterns? If you're seeing patterns, perfect. If you're not seeing patterns, don't worry, it's totally fine. So back to you. How do we change this? How do we change these patterns inside of you? Right now in your conscious mind, the emotional and mental templates are being programmed based on your subconscious mind, which causes the X result in your body because your body is acting them out for you. Now, we are creating a new template based off desire. So today, you've said yes to that relationship. You said yes to no longer having X and to bringing in Y. So your conscious mind has now Y in it, but your subconscious mind still has X in it. So what happens in your body? Total confusion. Your body is in the mode of fear. Your body is like, this zone is unfamiliar. We don't want to go there. And so this is totally what happens. We get still the same result. We're still getting the X result. And this is where you might be right now, is where the fear, conscious or unconscious, so there can be a subconscious sabotage each and every time because your body is confused. What is it that you want it to do? So what do we need to do? We need to direct access. We need to direct our access to the conscious mind and direct access to our subconscious mind through healing modalities, through subconscious mind reprogramming. In order to get obviously a Y result, this is what we want. And so this is really what I want to give away to you, is that the inner child is begging to say, please look at me right now. Your inner child is begging that deep self-work that you've maybe unconsciously been avoiding. Your conscious mind requires programs that need to be put in place in order to remove the old templates. This is where we are beginning to step into the conscious relationships. And this is where I really want to invite you to my Conscious Relationships 12-week coaching container, which is happening in September 20th, and which is happening basically next week. And so I've created this container because I want you to go step by step to healing these internal wounds side by side with me and everybody else in the intimate container. And we're doing this container for both men and women. And you might be surprised. I work separately with men and women. I've done loads of containers for women separately. But what I want to do is I want to bring both people together, both genders together, because you cannot just feel safe in a feminine environment as a woman and then not feel safe and understand the other side, the masculine side, the male side, right? I want you to both come together and begin to feel uncomfortably comfortable together of hearing out both sides of the story. This is really what is so important for me, because what I found myself is that my deepest healing has happened in a healthy environment of both males and females. Yes, I've had huge, expansive experiences only within feminine women's containers and circles and immersions that I've done, but I've really felt held. It's like I felt whole when we're all together, both males and females. And it's creating a safe space for males to show up exactly as they are and for women to show up exactly as they are. And so what we tend to find is that men will share their side of the story so women can understand them better, and women will share their side of the story so men can understand them better. And so really, this is what this is about. In week 1, we dive into healing subconscious relationship blocks. We are healing the relationship with ourselves by healing that inner child, by allowing this inner child to come out. Because you know what? In a conscious relationship, your inner child is always playing with one another. Because it is healed, we're always in a mode of play, not in a mode of immaturity. We always have a childlike approach to life, and that way we can feel most fulfilled in a world where it is quite intense. Whatever is going on, we're always containing that. And that brings us to healing the relationship with the self, which is week 3. So we're really tying it all together and de-armoring the heart in week 4 to be able to open up finally to new relationships. Or maybe even if you are in a relationship right now, then what you're doing is you're de-armoring yourself to let that person in closer, to let that person feel you more, to let that person more intimately into your world. But you need the relationship with yourself before you can begin to open your heart up to this possibility. In week 6, we are in module 2 is coupling and uncoupling. So this is pillar number 2 in conscious relationships, where you stop being an energetic match to your ex-partner and you establish a new relationship signature. Because a lot of the times what I find in previous, in my client relationships, is they bring the narratives into their present relationships. Like, I'm going to get hurt. This person's going to hurt me. And not surrendering. Like finding a way to create this barrier between you and your partner, somehow physically, mentally, emotionally, just not allowing yourself to get hurt because you've been hurt so many times. And if you've been there before, then I want you to put hashtag B2B, because I've been there before. And we don't even recognize these patterns until it's too late, until the relationship is over. And the truth is, the biggest amount of reasons why relationships are over prematurely is because of communication, because we don't know how to communicate with the other partner. There is no carefrontation. There is confrontation. We're not trained, or we haven't taught ourselves how to approach difficult scenarios. We are not trained. We have not been taught how to hold space for our partner. And so we don't know their love language. We don't know how to establish our own boundaries in a healthy and loving way. We don't know how to speak our truth because our truth is shut off, because we are shut off. And we don't know deep down why. And so the communication piece is vital. There's been so many times where people would, it's kind of, we're like blank. We are totally blank to the other person's feelings and emotions. We go into kind of like a defensive mode, and it's like, well, if this person is not doing this, then why should I be doing this? And then we just go into this like, oh, it's like we're not back in our bodies anymore. We're being judgmental instead of being compassionate. And so that's what it requires. It requires beginning to learn to speak the language of another person. And finally, in module 4, weeks 10 to 12, that's where we expand into intimacy. Intimacy is a juicy piece, and it's a piece that can either embellish and enrich your whole relationship experience, or it can make you incredibly resentful towards your partner because you're not being listened to, you're not being understood what you want in intimacy, in physical intimacy and affection and sexual intimacy and everything like that. Or you're simply not being and really that stems from unable to communicate with the other person. It all stems from the internal processes within us that hold us back to saying what we really want. And so how do we speak the language of expansive intimacy? How do we throw ourselves into these moments of pure vulnerability? And how do we navigate these difficult conversations around sex, around union, and around a deeper mission and vision within you two as a union? That is a totally like new grounds. And so we're kind of building up, as you can see, like module 1 is building a foundation for module 4. If you skip to module 4 again, you just back to square one. It's like, it's great. And so I see a lot of people where they throw themselves into deep sexual experiences in intimacy, but they still haven't got any self-awareness of the processes within them. And so they are either moving from partner to partner, having multiple partners. And of course, you're finding yourself through other people, through other experience, through other partners, but you're still avoiding the most important and vital piece, is you, is yourself. And this is what conscious relationships is about. It's about you. So I want to invite you to what's happening next week for the next 12 weeks. I'm really excited. This is going to be live. We're going to have weekly group coaching sessions every Tuesday and Thursday nights. I know that a lot of you are from London, so not London, but UK. I've had lots of people say London, which is beautiful. But I know that a lot of you are from the UK. And so I want to make sure that you can be there whilst we're live, because these sessions are totally interactive. Like, I'm a very interactive person. I need the information. I need to get the information off you. That's why I'm also giving weekly group Q&A scenario-based coaching and with replays available, because I want you to be in that safe space. I want you to feel held in that safe space where you can open up and we can all come together and help you heal through these experiences and what you're going through. weekly exercises, online accountability group, immersions, meditation, somatic exercises. Everything that I do is based on neuroscience, psychology, NLP, EFT, trauma release, hypnosis, and breath work. Okay, so it's totally holistic approach, and we use it in a way that is helping you release and is helping you unfold and open up. And finally, there's going to be an event held in London where we all come together and we get to see each other and we get to see each other graduate from this beautiful experience. So I want to invite you to this, and it's a very special invitation where the group coaching full price is £2,995, but for the masterclass viewers today, you are getting a £1,000 off the deal, and installments are available. I was like, what have I forgotten? Installments are available. So all you need to do is you just need to contact me over email if you want the installment for you. But if you're happy to go up front, 1995, then let's do it. Let's do it together. Yes, yes, yes. So my loves, if you have any questions at all about the masterclass, if you have any questions about the container, anything, then the floor is yours. Let me know for the next 5 to 10 minutes, and we can create conscious relationships together. Let me know. I'm gonna have another sip of my lime water. Leah says, really cool way to explain all. Thank you, my love. I know a lot of the time ago I needed to heal my past with my parents to be able to have a normal relationship. Yes, 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 yes. So what's interesting is that our mother and father are like a king and queen to us when we're growing up. They are the very first relationship that is reflective of what a relationship looks like. And so we look up to that. And also how we relate to our mother and father will obviously determine the kind of partner we're going to be looking for, because those are the places that we are looking to heal. Now, people don't understand this beautiful concept. People think that we're just like self-sabotaging machines. They think that, you know, we're going out and eating all the junk food and smoking all the cigarettes and drinking all the alcohol that's no good for us and dating toxic people. But actually, it's quite the opposite. The human mind and body are self-healing. They are always trying to heal. The mind and the body are always trying to heal itself. And so it's actually always trying to resolve what's happened to it. Even when it's completely suppressed and repressed, it will always be looking of how to heal that wound that has happened to me 15 years ago. How powerful is that? It is incredible. It is incredible. And so when I was saying allowing yourself to open up to emotions and allowing yourself to heal all and to feel is the only way to stepping into vulnerable, raw, rich connection and communication with other people. Yes. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you so much, everybody. My mom told me to leave her home when I was 18. It looks like I'm never welcome in her life. My dad disappeared and is getting married with someone who separated him from all of the family. How does that make you feel, Leah Bessie? How does that make you feel? because I think I always say it's not necessarily, it's never about the other people, it's about what's going on inside you, right? So how is this making you feel? Because the people themselves are simply individuals acting out their own lives. And so it is really what's the feeling, and this is what I was talking about trauma, is what's happening inside you that creates the trauma, and that's created the trauma. It's the response that's happening inside you in the first place. So what is that bringing up for you inside you, and how do you feel about that? That is the first thing that you want to address. If you haven't got any more questions, my loves, then I will end this beautiful masterclass. Thank you so much, everybody. You can contact me over Instagram, Facebook. You can join our free Meaningful Relationship Support group. And if you found this in any way, to shift your perspective, to shift your mindset, I would love to hear from you. If you send me an email with how you found this experience, if you have any feedback, if you didn't understand something, if you wanted more, that way I can cater for you. I can know what is exactly that I can do better next time, what it is that I can teach you, what is that I can show you, and so on. So please don't be a stranger. Send me an email. And we can go from there. And the one thing that I did miss, actually, if you would like to, I'm saying so much information. If you would like to join the container today, then all you need to do is click the button below that's already showed up for you, and it will simply take you to the landing page for this coaching container, and you can check out with me there and then. You can join the Facebook group and Instagram, and my Instagram right here as well. And like I said, if you have any questions, if you want an installment, if you want something else, if you want a one-to-one coaching, you want to find out about more about one-to-one coaching, you simply can reach me over email. Okay? Thank you so much. I love you all. And I'll see you very shortly. I can't wait to see you on the container, my loves.